mental illness is not just cured because the sun comes out.
Baby, you should get to know me. Tapping into that good energy. And I'm all for something.
Good morning, my sweet friends, or good evening by the time you're actually watching this. These are covered in, they're not even covered in flour that I used to make this cinnamon roll. They're covered in, I ordered some Vital wheat gluten from Amazon, which may have been a bad call, and it exploded everywhere. But hello, today I thought we would do a wine and dine, because we haven't done a wine and dine in ages. For me, it is in fact the morning, so rather than wine and dine, we're gonna do more of like a breakfast and tea. We have made some cinnamon rolls. I need to take all my rings off actually. Girl, it's been a while. Obviously, I didn't upload anything last week because I was poorly. It was actually a bit traumatic for no reason. I just kind of almost threw up every day, but it's fine. I'm fine now. Oh, I should have floured the surface. I thought we could chat a little bit because we're going into spring and my brain has been a little bit all over the place and I want to talk about that. So, the sun is finally shining-ish, and it's finally, touch wood, starting to feel like spring again. And it has been, I would say, the past like Marchy time. That comes a general mood increase, I would say, generally across the entire population. People generally feel a lot better in the summer periods than they do in the winter periods, especially in England when we get absolutely zero vitamin D in the summer, in the winter period. I've definitely personally been feeling a lot better in the general sense of the word, but it doesn't mean that everything, this is gonna be huge. Well, it doesn't mean that everything that I've been going through in the past few years just completely goes away because it's spring or summer. And for a lot of people, the sun obviously helps, but it doesn't completely go away. It doesn't make mental illness go away. There's a lot of guilt that comes with still feeling sad or low when kind of you are having a better time in general, if that makes sense. Like, for example, I've had like the best few weeks, been seeing so many of my friends. Well, I went home obviously, but then literally when I came back to London, I like cried on the tube for no reason, and I was just feeling really low. And then I had a really nice weekend with all of my friends, and then the day after just felt so freaking low again. And I think it was kind of like a social battery type of thing, like, which is kind of ridiculous in a sense because a lot of people will feel like when you're spending time with your friends that will really add to your positive mood, and it does. This is where the guilt comes from because I always feel bad sort of feeling shitty if I've had like a really nice time with my friends. I don't want people to feel bad, for example, if I've had like a really nice time with them but I still feel like I need some time by myself, or I feel like I need a break, or I need to cry or whatever. And I feel like I've been feeling it particularly recently because firstly I just think my hormones are all over the place, but also mental illness, innit? And I think I'm just slowly starting to accept a little bit more that like it's okay to still feel a bit shit in the spring and summer period. Mental illness is not just cured because the sun comes out, and it's okay to have like those days where everything feels kind of like you're back at the beginning. I mean, I also did run out of my antidepressants, which is silly. They're all picked up now, that's fine. Do not worry. Feel a lot of guilt because summer is supposed to be the time where everything's fine, and the narrative really is like everyone's happy in summer, when in reality, like, it's not always the case. And although I definitely am more happy in the summer, I still have those days where I need to not do anything. And the reason it's more guilt, you feel more guilt because, I don't know, I feel like I could be doing things with my friends or etc, but I find it difficult to. Whereas in the winter, it's a bit more like no one's doing as much because it's freezing fucking cold. Right, I mean, I've made these before, so I'm just going to use a similar kind of protocol. The other thing I kind of briefly wanted to talk about, which is kind of, I know people probably hate it when like social media people talk about things like this, because I'm so grateful and so lucky to be able to do this. I've just been thinking a lot. I think I'm getting quite like imposter syndrome-y, which I did have to Google before I started this video because I was worried I was going to say that and use it wrong. I don't know, I feel like I'm constantly doubting my role online, or my, well, I guess purpose and impact. Actually, impact's probably the best way to say it. I always just want to have the best impact possible, and I know that's not always the case, and it's not actually, it's not even possible. I think I set my standards for myself too high, and I think that's probably quite a universal thing with a lot of people, whether that is in work or friendships or, and by standards I mean standards we put on ourselves. I don't mean your standards for other people, because I think they should be high. I think you should be having, like in a relationship, your standards should be high in friendships and things. But I do think that sometimes we set our own standards for ourselves a little bit too high and a little bit unachievable, so we constantly feel like we're not achieving what we could be achieving because we've set those standards so freaking high. And I do think that also comes from the general social media attitudes of hustle culture, and I don't think there's anything wrong with setting goals which are quite far away as a point to look to, but my point is, like, basically I think I just put too much pressure on myself to try and positively impact every single person I've ever met and that ever crosses my channel, when that's A, not possible, and also put so much pressure on me that I end up just not doing anything because I'm like, well, I can't achieve this anyway, and therefore I should just not do anything, which is why my uploading schedule for the past like 2 years has been so sporadic, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm not doing what I should be doing, and therefore I just won't do anything. Which is such a weird ass mentality to have, but I think that's just the way it is. Right, they said it makes 8. I couldn't really say anything quite useful there, but I just wanted to give a little rundown on where my mental health has been. Like, I just miss like feeling a little bit more free with content and things. Yeah. And I wanted to share it just in case anyone else has been feeling similar, in a sense of spring coming around the corner, the pressure to be happy for spring. I mean, I am for the most part. It's just, yeah, I don't want everyone to think everything just gets better because the sun's out. Frankly, summer can be one of the more difficult periods, particularly people that struggle with their body image or perhaps self-harm, things like that. Like, there's so many people out there that experience different things across different seasons. And although obviously summer is amazing in so many ways, for some people it's one of the hardest months to get through. This is exciting. It's been like half an hour-ish, and these are pretty large. I think they look pretty freaking good. I mean, they are huge, as in, they're out of the oven, and I waited for them to get slightly cool. I've made like a really quick icing before I put that on top, so we're all very excited about it. Okay, I'm just putting it on one because I don't have enough. Oh! You ready? I think this literally looks so good, are you kidding me? I'm actually so impressed with this. I mean, it's huge, and the icing is dripping through, but wow, I have exceeded expectations. It's predicted, obviously, but thank you so much if you watched this whole video, because it's just me talking. But I love you, and I'll see you next week.